how to fix a dropped stitch in garter stitch. Hi everyone, my name is Norman and today I want to show you everything you need to know about fixing a dropped garter stitch even if it already unraveled several rows. Maybe you're currently in full panic mode and you're afraid you just ruined your whole work. Fear not, this method is super simple and it will allow you to repair your knitting in no time and fix these nasty little holes. The first thing you absolutely need to do as soon as you notice the mistake is securing it with something. This can be a stitch marker, or a safety pin, or a spare needle, a pencil, anything that will prevent it from unraveling further. And if your project unraveled several rows already, then you will need a crochet hook in a similar size to fix the dropped stitches. Now, before I can show you how to repair garter stitch, we quickly need to talk about the anatomy of this knitting stitch pattern. You probably know you produce it by knitting across all rows, but it's very important to understand that a knit stitch created on the wrong side, like this one here, will appear like a purl stitch on the right side. So it has this little bump here at its base. So when you want to fix garter stitch or dropped stitches in garter stitch, you also have to recreate a knit stitch on the right side rows and a purl stitch on the wrong side rows. Let's show you how to do that. So first you need to identify which row you are currently in. So here's my little dropped stitch, and if you look very closely you can see it has this little bump here at its base. This means you have a purl stitch, and if that's the case, the next stitch one row above needs to be a knit stitch. You always have to alternate between these two stitches. So pick up the stitch with your crochet hook. You can remove the pin. And then you need to find the next strand connecting two knit stitches one row above. And you simply need to pull that through the loop. And just like that, you created a knit stitch. Now let's take a look at this stitch. If you look really closely, you can see how it has this little V here at its base. And maybe your first stitch looks like this. It is a knit stitch. Well, this means the next stitch needs to be a purl stitch. Now I don't know if you know how to purl, but when you purl, the yarn always needs to be in front, but here the strand is in the back. So what you have to do is you need to secure that stitch with your fingers. Remove the crochet hook and then enter coming into that stitch and enter coming from behind and underneath that strand. And just like that, the strand here is in front, and now you have to pull it through and you created a purl stitch. It has this little bump here. The next stitch needs to be a knit stitch again, so you pull the yarn through like this. And then you need a purl stitch again, so bring the needle around or the crochet hook around and pull it through from the other side. So always alternate between these two stitches and make sure that you don't accidentally twist the stitches as you do, and work all the way to the top. The last stitch is always a purl stitch, so secure it and come in from behind like this, and then you can lift that stitch back to your left needle and you fixed it. Now there's one thing you need to make sure that you don't slip the stitch back to your left needle, twist it. See, this is a twisted stitch. The leg here in front comes from the left, but it needs to look like this. So if that's the case, you can easily shuffle things around like this. And now you can continue knitting the garter stitch like you normally would. And you fix the hole. It will be a bit noticeable, probably because you stretched out the stitches. So if that's the case, you can adjust the tension using your crochet hook or your knitting needles a bit like this and pull back a bit of yarn to the neighboring stitches so you don't end up with holes here. And if the stitch only unraveled one row, you can simply pick it up with your left needle and then purl it using the right needle like this. And just like that, you fixed the mistake. Anyway, that's how to fix a dropped stitch in garter stitch. Please give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed watching, comment with your questions, and of course, consider subscribing to my channel in case you don't want to miss any new videos. Happy knitting!